Hey everyone, I'm Mr. Hugues Tandioy. I'm a professor. I'm a, I'm a French professor at the University of Saint Lucia in Manila, Philippines, and I also teach French across the university center. And this is a 12 years experience. And currently, I'm taking my PhD program in verbal communication at the University of the Philippines. I conduct this study to try to sort out, to understand, and to explore in a better way the best approach to teach French in the Philippines. And my study or research led me to survey students in bachelor degree, as we're gonna see that later, and try to talk with them and to get what they need for the language learning to be experience that help them to deepen their understanding and to have more skills in French language. I titled my study is Teaching French as a Second Language in the Philippines, a search for a contextualized and outcome-based approach. As you can see in this my picture here, on the left side, we have the University of the Philippines, also University, Central School University in Manila, and in the middle that Champs-Élysées in Paris, and then we have the famous one, Eiffel Tower. All right, so let's start with this study background. All right, so language, as you can know, that plays a key role in human interaction. So when we speak, we need the language. Can it be signed or can it be spoken, whatever, but we need the language. And it's also true that when a person has a lot of luggage of language, his network is more expanded, right? It's much expanded. Therefore, we can interact with other people with easy and without any challenges. But we also know, we should also acknowledge that to acquire that skill, language skills, one needs dedication and discipline. So, however, when we go to the past, when we read our review of literature, you can see that more often expectations are always from the side of the learners. Learner have to do this, learner have to do that, understand. So less focus is given on a teacher or method. What methods are being applied for the students to understand, less is being given. So that's why the aim of the study is to go to the side of the learners, to conduct a survey with them, and come up with a learning method that suit their learning needs. And that's the goal of the study. Russia in 1996 comes up with the main teaching method or style in educational pedagogy. So we have direct instruction, inquiry-based learning, and cooperative learning. So direct instruction is made through the masterclass lectures and teacher-led demonstration. Teachers are thus considered as a spring of knowledge. I'm the one giving the knowledge, and you students or learners expect to understand the teacher. So somehow there is no any interaction during that teaching style. And we have inquiry-based learning. And when a learning style places students in the focal point, teacher plays the role of facilitator and provide guidance and support for students through learning process, getting students involved in the learning process. So we can see that we are moving from a passive, from a simple listener to somehow more interactive or more active role of learners. And we have a cooperative learning style, where the learning focuses on a group work. And this style or model forces students academic and social growth. Right? So the learning is student-centered. Now the center is now student. The center is no longer the teacher. It's the student now the focal point, right? And then, all right, so only is the learners are the only responsible for the learning and improvement. All right, so now let's go to the theoretical framework. So our study use first a constructivist approach. What is a constructivist approach? That's what you're going to understand. So Piaget, Jean Piaget, she's the one who coined what we can call a constructivist method, right? He understands reality as a construction, right? It involves transformation and states. When we talk about transformations, we are referring to manners of changes that a thing or person can undergo, right? So a state refers to the condition of the appearances in which things or person can be found between transformation. If human intelligence is to be adaptive, it must have function to represent both the transformational and the static aspect of reality. That's Marshall. Operative intelligence, right, is responsible for the representation and the manipulation of the dynamic or transformation aspect of reality. And that figurative intelligence is responsible for the representation of the static aspect of reality. Piaget, as I mentioned. All right. So operative intelligence is the active aspect of intelligence. It involves all action, overt and covert, undertaken to follow, to cover, anticipate the transformations of the objects or person of interest. Figurative intelligence is the static aspect of intelligence, involving all means of representation used to retain in the minds of the state. That's, yes, successive form, shape, or location that intervene between transformation. It involves perception, imitation, meta-imagery, drawing, and language. Operative intelligence frames how the world is understood, and it changes if the understanding is not successful. Piaget stated that this process of understanding and change involves two basic functions. So we have assimilation and accommodation. So those key concept is very important. As we go along, we're going to discover that better. Assimilation is external integration of elements into structure of lives or environment, or those we could have through experiences. Assimilation is how human perceive and adapt to a new information. It is the process of fitting new information into existing cognitive schema. So we are talking about a new language, we are talking about a foreign language. We are talking about a French language, which is being incorporated in the Filipino learners. It's being incorporated, integrated in Philippines cosmos, right? So cosmos. Accommodation is the process of taking new information in one's environment and altering the existing schema to fit in the new information, right? So now we have gotten new information in the assimilation, and then we need to find a place for that new information. And that's the role of accommodation. And in this concrete example, we have the French language, which is new information that need to be fit in the mind of Filipino learners who speaks Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, to name it, English on the top. The French need to see to fit it. So that's where we are going now with this theory. This happens when the existing schema does not work and needs to be changed to deal with the new object or situation. It occurs when humans are faced with new or familiar information and refer to previously learned information to make sense of it. Accommodation is imperative because it is how people continue to interpret new concepts, schemas, and frameworks, and more. Now, the constructivism in education is a theory that suggests that learners do not passively acquire knowledge through direct instruction, as you have seen as a master class. Instead, they construct their understanding through experiences and social interaction, integrating new information with the existing knowledge. So the focus here in the constructivism is that we are not teaching a passive learners. We are teaching active learners who have knowledge when joining the new experience of learning. So they are not passive, they are not spring of knowledge. I just need to spray all those knowledge to them. No, we are supposed to interact with them. All right. So the constructivist approach acknowledges that learners bring higher knowledge experiences shaped by the social and cultural environment, and that learning is a process of students constructing knowledge based on their experiences. So this research, now we are talking about method. So this research used a qualitative method. Sorry for the typo error. And we interviewed 50 students, right? All of them taking French language as part of their foreign language curriculum in the Central School of University. The respondents are enrolled in bachelor process across sites, so Manila, Makati, and Malolos. 60% of the respondents have taken French class for one semester, 30% for more than one semester, and 16% for less than one semester. Respondents choose to learn French as a degree requirement, and that's normal. So we are in the academic setting. While 8% for personal interest. The study uses straightforward questions, right, to identify the needs as it for to learn the foreign language. Questions focus on the assessment of the learning experience, the usefulness of the content given to them, the relevancy of the learning content and the materials. Are the materials are relevant, right? And the bilingualism in learning French. And the last question was about contextualization or Filipinization of the learning content materials. It transpires from the study that students prefer to have a more contextualized and outcome-based approach to learning the French language because we have a balance between French, and Filipino culture. It allows them to learn the language while also relating it to their own language. So I want to ponder here. So we are in the context of the Philippines, and French is tagged as foreign language. And based on the study, Filipino learners say, no, you should not bring a 100% package of French language in our context. So the language needs to be accommodated, right? It needs to be altered to fit in our already known language, already known experience, linguistic experience, which is the Filipino, the Tagalog, you name it, Cebuano, or whatever. All right. So the French need to fit it in there. And then they need that when teaching, they should relate. By relating is that it should take into consideration example that people can see. Eiffel Tower, yeah. Musée de Louvre, the Champs-Élysées, that's all not bad because we need to balance all of those because the language is French. But also we need to be more concrete. They should have a kind of similarity in them so they can situate. So the contextualized approach they pointed out makes the lesson more engaging and meaningful, helping them better understand both cultures and apply the language in real life. So when only learners can relate to what they're studying, what they're learning, the learning experience becomes more interactive and more cooperative. It's no longer like a direct approach, it's become like a cooperative approach that is more suitable for them. It connects the material personal. It explores cultural similarities and experiment with a unique flavor of combination. Let's take into example. So when we're talking about Eiffel Tower, which is placed in Paris, we need to try to relate those what the Eiffel Tower means here in the Philippines. What is a monument which is historical, which is a wonder, and that's how we can relate to it. And they can describe that. Don't ask students to describe about Eiffel Tower that they've never seen. Right? They can describe the whole monument in the Philippines in French. They can give the characteristics. Right? But it does not mean that we need to put across entirely from French example. The French example is still relevant, but however, Filipino culture needs to be taken into consideration. So the study concludes that a contextualized teaching approach is appropriate and mutually enriching for Filipino students. As we mentioned it above, respondents acknowledge the value of the French language in the curriculum, their future career and personal interests. They wish that the learning to be more accommodating and contextualized. That's why an approach that considers Filipino culture, beliefs, and value contextualized illustration so that the learners can have something to relate to, right? Okay. And then that's why we come up with a recommendation that we call only one recommendation. The study recommends that the contextualized approach be included not only in the learning style, but start from the two phases of learning experience, which is assimilation and accommodation. So through the process of assimilation, we have to make sure that the language, content, and material are related already to the Filipino culture, so that the accommodation can flow easily and to be more effective. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I'm Professor Hugues, and now I'm open to your question. Thank you very much.